first of all, there's a new overframe on the block from the utility selection, this one right here, which I don't know if there's a translation already. I'm trying to see if there is. On YG Organization, there is no translation yet. Dominus Purge. Wait, is that the one from Dominus Purge? From the artwork? Yes? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not more Dominus support, please. Yeah. Yeah, that's her. Oh my god, I'm not ready for the... I am not ready for the Dominus Impulse one. Uh-oh. Saint Princess Rose Pamela. Here's the Reddit thread. Okay, Reddit translation. Take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt because it is the Reddit translation, but I usually these have been correct, I think. Level 4 light spellcaster tuner, 0 attack, 2000 defense. Set cards in your spell and trap zone cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can only use each of the following effects of Dominustia Rose Pamera. Okay, different name here. Once per turn. During your opponent's turn quick effect, you can reveal this card in your hand. During your opponent's turn quick effect, you can reveal this card in your hand, add a Dominus Purge from your deck to your hand, then discard a card. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can set a Dominator's Trap or Dominus Purge from your deck or graveyard. It can be activated this turn. Whoa. Okay. I mean, this card is just more copies of Dominus Purge, right? To begin with. It's just more copies of Dominus Purge, which is pretty good. That is pretty good. It's also a level 4 tuner, so it has some potential in that way. It's a good normal summon if you ever do, but if you don't have a normal summon available, you can just keep it in your hand and then add your Dominus Purge that way. In that sense, it is... oh, wait. It is... What is the condition? Hold up. Dominus Purge... You can now purge... this is another Ash for going first, but it's very telegraphed. It's not the same. Because, like, if your opponent normal summons this card and you have a Molcharmi in hand, then you just chain the Charmy to this. It's not the same, guys. It's not the same. You guys are saying this is 3 more copies of Ash for going first. That's not true. That is not true. This card is not as powerful as Ash going first because you have to normal summon it and then your opponent is going to just respond with the Molcharmi. You know, Purge can't be used with no cards, brother. You can set a Dominator's Trap or Dominus Purge from your deck or grave. It can be activated this turn. Yes, you can use it because it's set. It's set and can be activated this turn. So yes, you can use it on the first turn if you go first with this card. All right. The thing is, doesn't work against Perulia, doesn't work against Fuwa because they will just chain Fuwa. This is a good card still. It is a very, very good card. For every deck that can play Dominus Purge, you will consider playing it. Now, the thing is, Dominus Purge is hard once per turn. So will you really play 6 copies of it? I think in a universe where they're copium toning down the number of Ash Blossoms in the game, I think this card makes more sense to play. Because right now, I think if people already play 3 Purge, 3 Ash, I don't know if you want to play this even more. But it's... I don't hate it as much as I was expecting. If you told me they're making Dominus support, I don't hate it as much as I was expecting. The thing is, though, this card is potentially really good. Of course, you can discard itself for it to basically be a free search for Dominus Purge, but you can also discard other cards in your hand. You can discard a trap so that your Dominus Purge will destroy, which is interesting in the context of a Dominus deck in general. And it's a relatively high quality normal summon because it guarantees that you will have a Dominus Purge on your end board. But going first, I think this card is fine. It's just that Dominus Purge is already one of the stronger cards to have behind a board. And so if you start with this in your hand, it's just basically like if you started with Dominus Purge in your hand. It doesn't start any fancy combos probably, unless you're playing maybe like a Magistus deck, because it is a spellcaster, right? But I don't think Magistus can play Dominus Purge because they got some other attributes in the mix, like fire and dark. Yeah. Q summon this. Yeah, you could. You could go Q summon this, I think. But at the same time, a Q can already summon Ash Blossom, so how is that worse? Why is it a tuner in the first place? I think what they're trying to do, what they were trying to do was they want, and this is something that I find good design overall, because what they're trying to do here is they're trying to make it a hand trap going second, but they're trying to give it a somewhat different use when you're going first with it. Like it's supposed to be an interesting thing to do when you go first, like normal summon it, get the Dominus card, and then use it as a tuner or something like that, which I can get behind. I think that's okay. Yeah. I mean, once again, it's funny because we just had that talk about consistency and searching and everything. I think as long as the role of Dominus cards is balanced in the game itself, then this card is okay, which I think at the moment is not quite the case. I think Dominus cards are more powerful going first than going second, and I think that's a little concerning. But overall, I think this card is, in itself, a well-designed card. And if Dominus Purge or Dominus Impulse are too strong of a card, especially for the player going first, then that's something that they should work on, you know, maybe hit those cards, or like, what I'm a little concerned about is that if they do the same thing for Dominus Impulse, which is not impossible, because so far the Dominus cards have followed a very specific pattern, it kind of invalidates any sort of limits or semi-limits that they make for those cards, right? Because if you print a card that just searches Dominus Purge is now basically at 6. And if they make the same thing for Dominus Impulse is now basically at 6. In the OCG, it would be at 5 because they semi-limited it, right? But yeah. Powerful card. And I mean, I didn't expect a card like this in the utility selection, to be honest, because the utility selection, well, I felt like it was supposed to be more about generic cards. And while Dominus Purge is a relatively generic card, it's not super generic. So this card is only going to help some decks replace, like, for example, in the OCG, Ash Blossom is at 2. So maybe this is an attempt of giving people a replacement for Ash going second. But not a card that can just negate Charmies going first, because Purge cannot do that. And this card also cannot do that, because at the point where you have the Purge, it's too late to negate a card like a Molcharmy. So I don't hate it. It's strong, but it's somewhat interesting, I think.